Welcome to Town Hall, and thank you for attending a Gilbert public meeting. Here are a few things to know. The meeting will be held in the council chambers. Should additional seating be needed, you may watch from our lobby. If you would like to speak at today's meeting, you'll find both agendas and speaker cards at the front counter in the lobby. Our staff is here to assist you fill out the cards and find the corresponding agenda items. All speaker cards from the public must be submitted prior to the start of the meeting. The Town Council is committed to providing an environment where everyone's voice is heard during public meetings. In an effort to preserve order and decorum, here are a few rules and guidelines we ask everyone to follow during the meeting. You may bring signs and similar items into the council chambers, but these items may not be held above shoulder height or otherwise obstruct the view or block the path of members of the audience. Disruptions impact the flow of discussion, potentially intimidate others, and detract from the purposes of the meeting. Therefore, disruptive behavior, including, but not limited to, cheering, shouting, booing, or the use of profanity is prohibited. Applause is only permissible during the presentations and proclamations portion of the agenda. Threats directed toward any individual or group are prohibited. Speakers may not campaign or advocate for or against candidates for office or ballot issues or otherwise attempt to influence the outcomes of elections. A full list of meeting rules is displayed at the entrance of the council chambers. During the public hearing portion of the agenda and during communications from citizens, when your name is called, please come forward to the podium. Then state your name, your town of residence, and begin speaking. Remarks shall be limited to 3 minutes. Citizens who are at the meeting and wish to donate their time to a single speaker must fill out an individual card and then combine their speaker cards. In such an event, one person from the group shall be designated to present their remarks, which shall be limited to 6 minutes. If one speaker is speaking on behalf of others who are present, the mayor or vice mayor shall read into the record the names of those whose time is combined. No person other than the individual speaking shall enter into the discussion. Officials on the dais may not respond to any questions or comments during communications from citizens. However, the council may ask questions during public hearing items. All comments and questions shall be directed through the mayor or presiding officer. Thank you again for attending a Gilbert Town meeting and for your participation in local government.
Okay, 30-second notice. We'll get going. Thank you. I apologize that we're running late. Good evening. I'll call to order the September 10th, 2024 Gilbert Town Council meeting. Again, I apologize for starting late. Please silence your cell phones and devices. Silence or shut them off for the duration of our meeting. I would appreciate it. This evening, I will call this meeting to order. This evening, with the first item on our agenda is an invocation by Secretary Deborah Pella Smith of the Local Spiritual Assembly of of Gilbert. Come on up to this podium right here. There's a button with a sticker on it. There you go. You can pull the mic closer to you, please.
Thank you, Mayor Peterson. Yeah, the invocation is on behalf of the Baha'is of Gilbert.
Baha'is, thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't put my glasses on, so I apologize. That's better.
O my God, unite the hearts of thy servants and reveal to them thy great purpose. May they follow thy commandments and abide in thy law. Help them, O God, in their endeavor, and grant them strength to serve thee. O God, leave them not to themselves, but guide their steps by the light of thy knowledge, and cheer their hearts by thy love. Verily thou art their helper and their Lord.
Thank you, Deborah. We appreciate you being here this evening and offering that invocation. Next up, we are going to have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Girl Scout Troop 3570. They were here earlier with me, and we went through a little practice run of this, and we did a long Q&A session. They had amazing questions for me, and they all asked me for my autograph. So if everybody please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. We we posed and did a group photo before when they were here. Thank you, girls. It was so nice to meet all of you. And moms, thank you, moms. Appreciate you bringing the girls out tonight. Oh, there's more in the back. Hi, moms. Thanks for being here today. If I could please ask the clerk to offer the roll call.
Mayor Bridget Peterson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Scott Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Chuck Bongiovanni.
Here.
Councilmember Bobby Buckley. Here. Councilmember Jan Kaprowski. Councilmember Kathy Tilkey.
Here.
And Councilmember Jim Torgerson. Here. A quorum is present.
Thank you, Chiavelli. First up is presentations and proclamations, and I will head down to the floor. First up this evening is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. Is Rachel here? Hi, Rachel. Oh, and you brought a friend. Come around over here. Last year, I actually had a purple dress on. I had a different dress on earlier today, and I went home and changed because I thought it was the same one I had on last year. And I wanted to have a different teal dress on for you. So, Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas ovarian cancer, are you making these smaller? Whereas ovarian cancer is the 5th leading cause of death among women, and the American Cancer Society estimates approximately 19,680 women will be diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 2024, with almost 13,000 succumbing to the disease nationwide, including 460 new cases and 310 deaths in Arizona. Whereas, due to vague symptoms and the lack of reliable early detection tests, most women are not diagnosed until stage 3 or later, when the cancer has spread outside of the pelvic. Whereas, although the 5-year survival rate for stage 1 ovarian cancer is over 90%, only 15% of ovarian cancers are diagnosed at this early stage compared to the more often diagnosed late-stage ovarian cancer with a 5-year survival rate below 30%. Whereas women's lives will be saved through increased public awareness of ovarian cancer and its risk factors, signs, and symptoms. Whereas this month, Gilbert, Arizona joins those who are battling ovarian cancer, honors those who have lost their lives to it, recognizes the loved ones affected, and admires our state's many dedicated healthcare workers whose efforts aid those suffering, brings awareness to us about this silent killer and hope for better diagnoses, treatments, and a cure. Now, therefore, I, Bridget Peterson, Mayor of the Town of Gilbert, do hereby proclaim September 2024 as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and I encourage all residents of Gilbert to support ovarian cancer awareness by educating themselves and their loved ones and by visiting their doctors regularly. That's a key there. And Rachel, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little about your story quickly and introduce your friend?
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Mayor Peterson. I have a bracelet for you. I'm Rachel Putman. I was diagnosed in June 2020 with stage 3A low-grade serous ovarian cancer. It is a rare type of ovarian cancer that disproportionately impacts younger women. It's recurrent, it's persistent, and it's ultimately fatal. It has an 85% recurrence rate, so at 4 years out, I am literally beating the odds. And the thing that I just really wanted to encourage you guys is that talk to your doctors, because I was just living blissfully ignorant, going to my women's wellness exam, thinking that pap smears detect all the different types of gynecological cancers, and they do not. Pap smears only detect cervical cancer. And I really pushed for this because at the same time that I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, a month prior, I was actually diagnosed with breast cancer. And it took 4 months and 2 surgeries for me to get my ovarian cancer diagnosed. It took a week to get my breast cancer diagnosed. So we like to say not all cancer is pink. And this is my friend Andrea, and she's here, and she's also another amazing survivor. So I'll let her talk about herself.
My name is Andrea Palsetto, and I was diagnosed in 2010 at the birth of my oldest son, who's here. He was an emergency C-section, and they pulled him out, and then there was a 2-pound tumor in my pelvis that they had no idea about. Since then, I've had 4 recurrences, 6 surgeries, and I'm currently in chemo, but I'm cancer-free, and we're hoping that the chemo will keep it that way. I also have a very rare subtype called Sertoli-Leydig sex cord stromal tumor that only affects only 0.5% of ovarian cancers are this. So the research is super limited, as are treatment indications. And so by doing more research about the more prevalent types, that trickles down to the more rare forms. So go get your checkups and help us raise awareness. Thank you.
Thank you, and I hope you stay cancer-free. I hope you both stay cancer-free. And for you, I've heard your story over and over again, but I'm just picking up different points tonight. You were diagnosed right at the beginning of the pandemic, essentially, in 2020, and that must have been a terrible time to be having to go through this in a hospital when you couldn't have people with you.
I had 6 surgeries, every single one. I had 6 surgeries between April 2020 and October 2020, and every one of those I was by myself. So it was, crazy time, and you know, you with the whole mask thing, people not wearing a mask, I'm sitting there just being like, can we just have a mask so my husband can come and be with me? You know, you hear the stories about people passing away in the ICU by themselves. That was just what went through my head every single time. Every appointment, I was by myself. I heard I have cancer twice by myself. So, it was a crazy time.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, my heart goes out to both of you and anybody suffering from cancer. I lost my mom to breast cancer. I definitely know what it's like to have this in your family and to have to always be checked. I've been checked my whole entire life because of that. And we'd love to get a photo with both of you. Here, I will give you this to you, and we'll get in front of the middle right here because it's the nicer spot for a picture. Can I be in between you two? Next year, I hope there's power to the water tower so we can turn it teal again for this night, because we've been able to do that every single year. And next up, I feel like this is the night of the woman. Tonight we have the members of the Daughters of the American Revolution that are here on behalf of Constitution Week. If you would all like to come down and join me. Hi, ladies. Love to see you. Hi, Kathy. It's so nice to see you. Whereas September 17th, 2024 marks the 237th anniversary of the signing of the Constitution of the United States of America during the Constitutional Convention in 1787. And whereas the United States Constitution remains the cornerstone of American democracy with the responsibility to protect and defend it, falling on the shoulders of all her citizens. And whereas remembering, recognizing, and honoring this bedrock document that currently serves as the longest surviving government charter still in use in the world is critical to our country's future successes, and whereas it is imperative that we continue to educate ourselves and our future generations about the Constitution and America's founding principles for federal and state government, individual liberty, the separation of powers between the branches of government, and whereas Constitution Week is celebrated annually due to the advocacy efforts of the Daughters of the American Revolution, who petitioned Congress in 1955, which resulted in the adoption of a congressional resolution and President Dwight D. Eisenhower's signing of the ordinance of the Constitution Week into law on August 2nd, 1956. And now, therefore, I, Bridget Peterson, Mayor of the Town of Gilbert, Arizona, on behalf of Gilbert Town Council, do hereby proclaim September 17th through the 23rd, 2024 as Constitution Week, and invite community members, young and old, to learn and affirm the ideals of the Constitution by educating themselves about this historic and living document, its powers, its limits, and its history. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor. My name's Diana Hines, and I am the regent of the Governor George W.P. Hunt chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution, and this is your hometown chapter. Each town or city will have a Daughters of the American Revolution chapter. So you're looking at representatives who represent the town of Gilbert. So.
Kathy, do you want to each introduce yourself, please?
I'm Kathy Pinella. Right now, I'm the treasurer of our chapter.
Rosemary Lichtenfels. I'm the librarian historian for our chapter.
I'm Maura Makowski. I'm on the board as the immediate past president of the chapter, past regent.
I'm Patty Zur, and I'm the registrar. So any of you ladies out there want to join DAR, give me a call.
And I'm Ann Fisher, and I'm the vice regent.
I love that. You always have to give a little plug, right? Have to give a little plug. Well, let's get a photo here. Okay. Who wants to hold do you want to hold this in the middle? Let's put you next to me, and ladies couple come on this side.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Kathy knows me well. We see each other at a lot of events.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing this to our attention again this year. We appreciate it. Thanks for all you do in our community. Our pleasure. Thank you. Next up, I'll invite Vice Mayor Anderson down for a recognition of Miss Arizona America 2024. Hillary Parks. We have a certificate for you to read.
Which one is it?
I'm just going to stay down here and do
Hillary, congratulations. As the mayor said, this is our Miss Arizona America Beauty Queen for 2024. So congratulations. We've got a little certificate for you. It says, it's awarded to Hillary Parks for your community spirit embodied by your dedication to helping young minority women overcome socioeconomic challenges, your spiritual grace and enthusiastic entrepreneurial spirit, all while serving as Miss Arizona for America Strong.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm going to have you stand over here, sir.
Okay, I'm going to get rid of this.
Go ahead.
Councilmember Tilke is next. Councilmember Tilke will recognize Mrs. Arizona America 2024, Candace Decker. And we might have.
No, one's American and
One's American Arizona. There we go.
They are different.
They are a little different.
She's right here.
Hi. Candace, so nice to meet you. Yes. Well, welcome, Candace. So nice to meet you, and congratulations. You know, I think one of the great things about being Mrs. Arizona is not only the beauty on the outside, but the beauty inside that you share with others. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
This certificate is awarded to Candace Decker for your contribution to Gilbert as a resident, small business owner, community volunteer at both a local and national level, and advocate for healthy living while serving as Mrs. Arizona America 2024.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. We'll get a photo taken.
Great.
You don't sign, is that?
But, oh, I didn't get those signed. Councilmember Kaprowski will be coming down to recognize Mrs. Arizona American 2024, Megan Charney.
Congratulations, Megan. We wish you all the best in your national competition. This certificate is awarded to you, Megan Charney, for your professionalism as a successful entertainment executive, your advocacy for autism through your work with Sibling Advocates and Siblings of High Needs Individuals program, your dedication to your children and family, all while serving as Mrs. Arizona American 2024.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Right in the middle, Megan. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Oh gosh, do I feel short now? I mean, I'm always short, but boy. Stand up really tall, Bridget. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Next up, we'll move into our public hearing items. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have items 5 through 12 on the agenda. I have a request to speak on item 9. Otherwise, I have no public hearing requests for anyone to speak. Would anyone like to pull any of the other? Yes, Councilmember Wonder.
No.
You don't want to pull anything else? I'll open the public hearing. Would anybody like to make a motion on 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, and 12.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Buckley, seconded by Vice Mayor Anderson. Please vote. Councilmember Torgerson? Thank you. Motion passes 6-1 with Councilmember Torgerson dissenting. Next up, we have item 9, General Plan GP 23-13, Z 23-11. Do we have a short presentation from staff? Ava?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll be presenting this evening for Nicole Russell. I'm sorry, I'm waiting for the PowerPoint. Okay. And the presentation tonight will be for Cobblestone Express Auto Spa. And the request is a general plan amendment and a rezoning from neighborhood commercial to community commercial for about 1.5 acre parcel. The parcel is located south of the southwest corner of Germain Road and Lindsay Road and is surrounded by an approved convenience store just to the north, an apartment complex to the west, an office complex to the south, and then a single-family neighborhood beyond that. The approved convenience store would work with the car wash. They're often together. And the car wash would be buffered by the apartment complex by the canal and from the single-family neighborhood by the office complex. Design review for the car wash will go to the Planning Commission next month. We don't have to discuss this evening, but I did want to show you the conceptual site plan. And there was a neighborhood meeting held in November. Nobody attended that meeting. And since that time, staff has received a petition of non-opposition from 10 surrounding businesses. The recommended motion is to adopt the resolution approving the general plan amendment. And the second motion would be to make the findings of fact and adopt the ordinance approving the rezoning.
Thanks, Ava. Any questions for Ava at this time? Seeing none, I want to make sure that I said open the public hearing. Open the public hearing on this. Thank you, Ava. I'll, if the applicant is here and they would like to say a few words. Mr.
Paul Gilbert?
Mr.
Yes.
Gilbert, thank you. I said a few words, Mr. Gilbert. I've known you for a very long time, Mr. Gilbert. Turn your mic on, please. Push the button. There we go. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you. I have a full presentation, but frankly, I think the key things are, apparently someone filled out a card, so I think it would be more efficient maybe if I waited and heard what they had to say and then respond. Would that be okay, Mayor and
That would be
Council?
perfect. And of course, you know, I joke with you about the few words. You are able to say as much as you would like, but
Thank you.
yes, and I agree with you. Thank you. I just wanted to give you the first opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I will call up the person with the card that has been submitted, Christian Howarth. Come down to this podium with the microphone on, please, Christian. Hi. You'll have 3 minutes to share your points with us.
Thanks so much. All right, my name is Christian Howarth. I live in Gilbert, Arizona. I'm from that single-family neighborhood just south that was on the map before. And I saw those two beautiful yellow signs saying there's a public hearing about a cobblestone that was going to be installed there. And if you have a concern, come and speak. And so here I am. I talked to a bunch of my neighbors about this. We have a bus stop group in the neighborhood, and they all wish they could be here, but apparently there's a big debate going on tonight that they wanted to attend instead. So I'm speaking on their behalf as well. Anyways, we feel that building a third car wash within a 3-mile car radius of our homes is maybe unnecessary. That on that map that was shown, that beautiful presentation, There's a canal right behind that car wash that our families like to go for walks on the weekend, for example. Building a car wash there would bring a lot of noise pollution, we feel. That might deter from families going for walks in those areas. Plus, it might impact the home valuations of that single-family neighborhood as well. I know it's a minor detail, but in fact, the reason why we live in that single-family neighborhood is because we found a beautiful place to live, my wife and I, and then we discovered there was a car wash across the street. It seems like that's a big business nowadays. So we would like to just suggest that single-family neighborhood that we consider alternative solutions to a car wash. I know it's probably late notice, and it sounds like ground's already being broken, and it sounds like there was a meeting last year I wasn't really familiar with. I wish I could have been there to talk about it then. But, so yeah, that's what I wanted to say, and thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Christian. Thanks. We appreciate you coming out and sharing your thoughts with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Gilbert, if you would like to come back up and address any of the concerns.
Thank you. Again, for your record, Paul Gilbert, 701 North 44th Street, Phoenix. There appears to only be one concern, and that is noise. I point out that the people that live most closely to the project, and we've visited all of them, have signed petitions in support. Secondly, all of the machines are internally focused, so there won't be any noise escaping from the facility of any consequence. We comply fully with your noise ordinance here in the town, and there's only one motor that operates the vacuum, and so we don't have motors from all the individual vacuums occurring at the same time. The bottom line, simply put, is that this is a quiet operation. Cobblestone is well known for being among those that are the state-of-the-art in car washes, and we feel that this is just an excellent, excellent use here. We're at the intersection virtually of two major freeways, arterial streets, and that therefore there will be more noise being generated from the adjacent roadways than we will generate on our site. For these reasons, we think the staff was absolutely correct in suggesting approval of this application, and the fact that the Planning Commission unanimously underscored their approval, I submit, is a good recommendation for you to follow through on tonight. I have a 7-page presentation, but I think I've addressed the one issue that seemed to be of concern.
I think you addressed the issue that we heard from the resident. Let me ask the council if they have any questions for you. Councilmember Kaprowski.
I would just like to ask to direct staff when this project goes to design review to ensure that the comment from the resident gets conveyed to the Planning Commission in the event that there's any consideration for the design review, but from the perspective of the trail behind the property.
Yes, Mayor, Councilmember Kaprowski, I'll make sure that gets conveyed to the commission. I believe the design review goes before the commission next month, and we'll take a look at it again to make sure that any noise-emitting elements are directed away from the trail.
Thank you.
And thank you. We're very willing to do that, and I might add that I trust my brevity tonight will be rewarded. So I do have much more I could say that supports this application if you do have concerns.
We have another question from Councilmember Tilke.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to mention that that was a comment that I was going to make, Councilmember Kaprowski. Perhaps, Ava, you could ensure that our resident is notified of when that meeting is so that they can come and share the comments. And Mr. Gilbert, I know that your client will work with staff to address those concerns as we move forward. And I do agree that that is I don't want to say noisy intersection, but there is a lot going on there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for Mr. Gilbert? Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. We
Thank you.
appreciate the brevity.
I hope that appreciation manifests itself shortly.
We
Thank
will
you.
see. We will see, sir. I will close the public hearing, bring it back to the dais for discussion and/or motions, because we have to have two. It's not how this process works, guys. Somebody has to do something.
I will make a motion to approve both A and B, I believe it was.
I think we have, do we have to do them separately, or can we do them together? That'd probably be a Chris question.
Mayor, council, they could be done together as long as it's clear that both are being approved.
Do we have a motion to approve 9A
General-
and B?
9A and B, in the interest of keeping the man of many words to brevity.
Second.
I have a second by Vice Mayor. Please vote. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Mr. Howarth, thank you for attending and giving your input. We do appreciate it. Moving on to the consent calendar, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. We have two items to pull off, item number 16 and item number 18. And then we'll be adding, and I will, we'll be adding item 21 to the consent calendar, and I'll go over that when I get to it. But I'd like to move
Vice Mayor,
approval.
item 17A is also going to be separate.
It's a request to table that item.
Table
It could
that.
be made in the motion
Yeah.
with consent agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
17A.
17A.
It's requested to be tabled.
Yeah. Which means there won't be a date certain to that. So I'll make a motion to approve items 13, 14, 15, 17, and 17A to be tabled. 19, 20, and item 21, which will be a motion to appoint to the Planning Commission Brian Anderson and Louis DeGravina as regular members with terms beginning September 30th, 2024, and ending September 29th, 2028, and Kyle Cole and Jenna Lyon as alternate members with terms beginning September 30th, 2024, and ending September 29th, 2025.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Anderson.
I second that.
I have a second by Councilmember Buckley. Please vote. Motion passes 7-0.
Item 16, Councilmember Torgerson.
I was hoping just to get a very short, man of few words presentation on the necessity of this purchase contract.
Assistant Chief Bob Badgett, brevity is the key term tonight.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Councilmember Torgerson, the item in front of you tonight is for a kind of a mobile command van. It's in support of our Emerging Technologies Division, mainly used to up to a place to put our drone operator out of the heat. Currently, they're operating at the back of a pickup truck, and over this past summer, we've had multiple times where they were in the air and had to shut down early because of the degradation to the battery life of the heat, and also having our people stand out in the sun. With the purchase of this vehicle, it'll go a long way to allowing the use of our drones to protect our citizens and our public safety members in a continuous manner without having to shut down periodically to cool themselves and their equipment down. The van that we purchased is specifically designed for that, and it'll enable wind shuts us down no matter what, but rain, heat, and others, it'll allow us to continue to do some of the amazing stuff we've been doing with that drone program over the last year.
Fantastic. I felt it was important for people to know why this was there. And I know Councilmember Bongiovanni is enthralled with the drone program. And I just wanted people to hear what it was for. It's not just to do it. There's a very specific purpose for a very, very successful program.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for allowing me to brag about our drone program, too.
And very well done on the brevity, Assistant Chief Badgett. Would someone like to make a motion on that item?
I'll make the motion. Oh,
I was just going to make a motion to accept item 16 as written.
Okay, I'll second that.
We have a motion by Councilmember Torgerson, seconded by Councilmember Buckley. Please vote. Motion passes 7-0. Vice Mayor, one more, right?
Yes, item 18, Councilmember Torgerson.
And I know I do this almost every meeting, but I want somebody to sit there and give me this reassurance. Sit there and and we're going to use brevity, but we're going to use the big words so we can get small, shorter, and promise me we have no strings attached to any one of these things.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Mayor. Mayor, council member, I cannot promise you there are no strings attached. However, all the strings attached are perfectly within our capability of completing.
Could you explain what those strings attached are?
Sure. Just like most federal grants, we've got to follow certain things like DBE, Title VI, ADA, and the federal procurement process. In order to make sure that we do follow those processes appropriately, we've contracted with ADOT to manage this project on our behalf if we are awarded the grant. There are some unique things that we have to follow based on this being a Federal Railroad Administration grant that I personally haven't dealt with before. Maybe the town has prior to me. Some of those things are in the study. We have to consider job quality and labor rights, so we'll have to include that as part of the results of the study. And then we have to report to FRA quarterly on the progress of the study as well as the expenditures of funds. And then we have to submit the final document to FRA. So I think that all of those strings are well within our capabilities and are not out of bounds.
It stays within the policy we have of, okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Correct.
Councilmember Bongiovanni.
Thank you, Mayor. Jason, will our costs be more than the actual funding?
Mayor, council member, the cost of the town is approximately $600,000.
Strings attached, I mean.
Oh, no.
Cost is out of GO bonds that have already been designated for this too. Councilmember Kaprowski.
Jason, I know that the Maricopa County will have Proposition 479 on the ballot this November, and voters in Gilbert should know that some of the projects, or most of the projects that Gilbert has that would be included in that proposition are related to some of these railroad crossings. Is there any additional information you can share about how this grant is related to those potential future projects funded by that regional sales tax extension?
Mayor, council member, yeah, that's a really good point. So we currently, as part of Prop 479, the town has identified 3 locations where we would want to do grade separated crossings. And to that end, we would use regional funds to pay for those projects. The hope of this study is to, A, verify that the 3 locations that we've identified are the best 3 locations, and then ultimately, hopefully, if we're awarded, this will also set us up to apply for federal rail funding for design and construction of these projects, which would allow us to shift those funds to other important projects within the town. So essentially, if awarded, staff would want to pursue additional funds of this sort for design and construction, and then allow us to use those regional funds on other important projects in the town.
Thank you for explaining that. I know that a lot of these big capital improvement projects, they really take a long time, and this is planting the seed for those future projects. So thank you.
Any other questions? Jason, thank you for the explanation. For the public's knowledge, you're getting our approval to actually just apply for the grant. That's part of our process here with the town of Gilbert. And
Mayor, that's correct.
thank you, appreciate that. Thanks for the update on the Prop 479 that you just offered to. Thank you. Bring it back to the dais. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept item 18 as written.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Torgerson, seconded by Councilmember Kaprowski. Please vote. Motion passes 7-0. Great. Moving on to administrative items, we've already handled item 21. Item 22 is discussion and update from the Community Engagement Task Force. Councilmember Tilke.
Thank you, Mayor. We will be meeting on Monday, and I'm very excited to say that we will have the results from the teen survey being presented at that time. But at the last meeting, I asked if you would like to hear a little bit more about Maricopa County Attorney's Office, the report Don't Repost, a campaign that our police department was, as well as others in the community, work together to put together. I think there's a video, right? So we'll just go right into the video, if that's okay.
We need to talk about teen violence. It's hurting our kids and our communities.
I worry every day about the impact of violence on our children's lives.
It affects everyone.
Seeing how violence impacts our kids is heartbreaking. We need to step up.
Our kids need us in so many ways. Right now, it's teen violence that's tearing our communities apart.
If your child witnesses a fight, remind them. Don't record it, report it. Call the local police.
Never assume someone else will call. You can report anonymously if you feel unsafe.
I'm the father of teenagers. I know firsthand the worries parents carry when our kids are out in the community.
When our kids witness a fight, they need to know what to do. Encourage them to report it, not record it.
It's the reason why I'm doing this, to help us all make our community safer.
Reporting to law enforcement can make a real difference. Remember, you can't be held liable. Together, we can create a safer community. So report, don't repost.
Thanks, ladies, for making that available tonight. We'll have more updates, after our next meeting, but I think this is a great first step in trying to get the message out not only to teens, but our parents as well, the importance of reporting the crime directly to our police department. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you for sharing that. We did ask for the video to be shared this time, and I loved watching the press conference with Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell with all of those chiefs or their representatives standing there supporting her in this report. Don't repost, and we see it so many times. I see so many people report things on social media that they're not reporting, and it doesn't matter what it is. There's a car accident at the corner, and they're posting it on Facebook instead of calling 911. I mean, please, this is the most important thing that we can encourage you to do, and reposting just stirs people up in very negative ways. And so let's get this stuff reported where it needs to be. Thank you. Moving on to our next item on our agenda, presentation on the performance management program. Who do we have up?
Good evening. My name is Amy Ashworth. I'm the Interim Chief Performance Officer for the town. It's been about a year since we've provided an update to council on the performance management program, so let's get started. Brevity, right?
Brevity is key.
Brevity is key. So we'll get through this pretty quickly. Today we're going to cover program progress, department updates, and what's next for our core team. Our program is one of the cornerstones of the City of the Future initiative, providing a framework for analyzing data, setting goals, and tracking progress towards a prosperous future. In the past year, the core performance team has supported 2 department stat programs, launched public dashboards, kicked off onboarding for 7 departments, 1 division, and rolled out Power BI training. Performance management enhances strategy alignment, transparency, employee engagement, and continuous improvement, driving productivity and accountability. However, the heart of our program is the department's commitment to setting goals, tracking progress, and adjusting as needed to improve performance and meet organizational objectives. Tonight, we'll highlight some of these departments. And it is my pleasure to have our first speaker, Chief of Police Michael Solberg.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's been a year, as Amy mentioned, since we last reported. You'll see two different colors, and what this designates is the ones in orange are the ones that are going to be published to the public. The ones in blue are our internal facing dashboards. I'm not going to go through all these, but you will see up there, we talked last year about several of these, some of which being domestic violence as we prepare for our advocacy center and our crisis response team. One that just got completed by Amy's team a couple months ago is our professional standards dashboard. So this and the next slide that I'll show you is focusing on use of force. And our focus here is the amount of force compared to the number of contacts we have with the public. You'll see a high number on the left side of the use of force types. Most of the high levels are ones where we're not actually touching someone. It's displaying a handgun, displaying tasers, and then control holds. Your strikes, your punches, your taser use are minimal on this scale. So this will be live, so you can toggle timeframes. This sample is just all data from 2024. The next slide is the complaint slide. Once again, this is a sample from 2024, and you can toggle to the different timeframes you want to look at, the source of complaints, the outcome of the complaints. And you'll see on this, the majority of our complaints come in internally, and most of those are result in being sustained because we're either self-reporting or we're seeing a violation of our policies and creating what we call a blue team, which initiates the investigation. That is available to the public as well. Here are a couple samples of what we're doing with our Part 1 crimes. So we have a Part 1 crimes dashboard where we're tracking our violent crime and our property crime. So Chief Angstead, who is our chief over operations with patrol, they were looking at the data and noticed a trend, an increase in shopliftings. And that is a frequent call that our patrol officers go to. So they use this data to focus a operations plan, looking at how can patrol better combat the shopliftings that were occurring. And a lot of that was just being visible. And so they were directed to be patrolling, parked, doing report writing, being visible at these locations. And in that once we implemented that, we saw a 13% reduction, 13.4% reduction from April to May, and then as we continue that, a slight decrease from 0.74. And so that's just one sample of how we're utilizing this data. They're still working on that, but they're currently working on commercial burglaries. We saw an increase in commercial burglaries during the nighttime. And so that's their current focus. So this data allows us to look at current trends live. It's refreshed. Each one has a different purpose, obviously, and allows us to use data to make informed decisions. This last slide for me is where we're looking next. Amy's team and IT have done an excellent job of doing our dashboards, and we have a lot of asks along with the other departments. So we are looking at how we can further use this data to make informed decisions, not only in the budget, but in deployment of our employees. Specifically, we're looking at 911 calls at our dashboard, making sure we're meeting our goals and the national standards of how quickly we answer a 911 call and how quickly respond and arrive. Working on our counseling dashboards of how many our current Gilbert Youth and Adult Resources, how many clients they're seeing, and in which capacity. Are they court ordered? Are they walk-ins? Are they referrals? And then our hiring dashboard, looking at where are we making sure we are effective and efficient in our hiring, where are we losing candidates in that hiring process. And then the Just FOIA is a new one that we've added on our list to look at. We, in the last year, found out that we lead the nation in Just FOIA requests for the police department, which for our, obviously we're not the largest department in the country, but we lead the nation in the number of public records requests that come into our department. So we will be looking at a dashboard, looking at the Just FOIA of how we can take that data and further analyze what's our current delay, and is there a way to streamline that and reduce that. With that, I'll turn it over to Amy.
Thanks, Chief. Well, we greatly appreciate that.
Amy, before we go back, Chief, we should probably see if anyone has any questions. Councilmember Bongiovanni?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Amy. Sorry.
No worries.
Chief, you.
I was being brief.
I'll be brief. You showed the 14% or 13.5% reduction in shoplifting during that time, and another 0.7%. Is that a cumulative 7% or 0.7% for a total of 15%, or is that just a 1% reduction from June and July?
That 0.74, so 13.46 is a reduction from April to May.
Right.
And then at that level, another 0.74, so it is cumulative.
Cumulative,
When
okay.
you look back 2 months.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions for Chief this time? No, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Thanks, Chief, for showing how data can change the way that you actually do your operation. So up next, we have Jennifer Graves from Economic Development.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Jennifer Graves, Deputy Director for Economic Development. I am delighted to be here with you tonight. So let's get started with economic development performance measures. So Gilbert's Office of Economic Development has been monitoring and reporting on performance for nearly 2 decades through important town documents like the budget book, the comprehensive financial report, as well as the benchmark report. This new performance management process provided a platform for the team to renew our focus and bring all lines of service together to develop a unified mission, as well as an opportunity to collaborate with other departments and hear their perspectives as we focus on defining the work of each line of service in the department and summarizing that work into core performance areas. With these areas defined, the team refined our programs and activities that support each key performance area, which enabled us to confirm those outcome measures that will be achieved in support of our key performance areas. Within the business development, redevelopment, and tourism lines of service, work is generally focused on engagement with core partners like site selectors, businesses, community members, developers, and visitors to build an experience and relationships while delivering service to help them all thrive and ultimately increase the economic well-being of our community. This work is also aligned to show progress for the community in several key performance areas, which are summarized here on your screen. Things like retaining and growing Gilbert-based businesses, attracting new investment, and connecting visitors to entertainment and recreational opportunities. The Economic Development Performance Management Dashboard will feature these metrics chosen to measure progress in those key performance areas. For business development, which is what you're seeing on your screen right now, there are 2 output and 2 outcome metrics that are focused on things like lead generation, business engagement, as well as job growth in STEM and STEM-related occupations, and the total number of jobs in Gilbert. The redevelopment line of service is showcasing 3 outcome metrics that are focused on trends in land valuations, trends in sales tax revenue for the Heritage District, and the community sentiments around safety in the Heritage District. And the tourism dashboard is also showcasing 3 outcome metrics on the focused on trends in room demand for both traditional accommodation venues as well as short-term rentals, and the visitor spending trends. There were also several new metrics that are shown here on the screen that were identified in the performance management process that the Office of Economic Development will start reporting on in fiscal '25. Happy to take any questions if you have any.
Jen, brevity, that was lovely. We said we were happy it was you and not Dan. Don't tell him.
Well, I think he just heard you, Mayor, members of council.
We're just kidding, Dan. We're just kidding. Thank you, Jen. Any questions for Jen at this time?
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer, for your notes. And economic development is incredibly vital to our community. So we look forward to seeing what you build next. Up next, we have Robert Carmona from the Parks and Rec and Facilities Department.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. In the interest of brevity, Mayor, I'm going to cut it down from 10 minutes to about 2. You know that I love to talk so much. But overall, our journey really started when Patrick set that goal of becoming the city of the future. The department set in 2020 our own Department of the Future initiative, which was our kind of engagement and performance management, where knowing the master plan was going to be coming up, we really focused internally to make sure that we talked to our own staff about how they were feeling of where that future was headed and what they needed from us to prepare them to be successful when that time came. Through that took us to our master plan strategic initiative, which council knows. We spent about a year and a half really engaging with the community at record levels to understand what they really needed from us, what they were experiencing, and how we could best turn that into a game plan moving forward. And as we saw, these were the 6 main categories that came out of that. And I think one of the things that's missing, but we've talked about quite at length, is that our programs, our parks are at max capacity, as we've seen throughout it. But the other important things is preserving those assets, creating that connected community, sharing the story, and developing our team is sort of going to be a common theme as we go through our performance dashboards tonight. With that, some of those highlights, and these numbers are to provide context for what you're going to be seeing in the dashboard coming up. So knowing that in 21 and 22, we provided about 24,000 different programs and events. Those numbers, I think, were even staggering to our team when we first saw them at the master plan when they did that deep dive into how many programs are available. And on top of that, knowing that the cancellation rate on these programs was only 3% further showed that need that the community is really utilizing all these events and facilities and programs at a rate of about 289,000 overall participants. And we know from that master plan and placer eye data that overall we're serving about 5.1 million people a year at our parks, programs, and facilities. And within that, when we started that process in 2020 and really worked with our team on what the community needed from us, we saw a 20% increase in 21 and 22 for the amount of activities being offered and the community members that were taking advantage of it. So that's just kind of telling a little bit of the story of what happened in 2020 up until now. So as we go through performance management, we're very thankful for the performance management team, the IT team. And then we have 2 members from our team that primarily spend a lot of our time, their time doing this. Heidi Komish, who couldn't be here this morning, and Rebecca Cosarbo is in the audience tonight, just to embarrass them a little bit. Really what you're seeing tonight was because of the effort they put in 2022. Because if you go back to 2020, all of our surveys that we would get back were pieces of paper that you were collecting from an instructor. Didn't always know where those pieces of paper went to after those classes were finished. So in 2022, shortening that survey, making it personalized so that anybody who takes a program or a class or goes to an event or has a rental gets a personalized email when they're completed, asking for their feedback on how that went in a statistically valid way. And in doing that, which kind of leads us to today, we're able to add an additional question for wellness improvement. So what you're going to see is taking all of those, these are kind of 4 dashboards into one screen, but to talk a little bit more about them, understanding when we look back that we had 24,000 programs, offered in those 2 years, that we have close to 300,000 people utilizing those programs. Very proud to say that the team's, almost at that 90% program recommendation from the participants that are taking those, instructor recommendation at 90%, facility satisfaction at 95%. And when you think about the amount of facilities that are being utilized, you're talking about 40 plus, whether it's a park or a facility that our residents are taking these services. And that wellness improvement, providing that mental, physical, and social health improvement in our customers' lives at that 86%. To put a little more context into it, the national average for program recommendation and facility satisfaction is about 70%. And we know that from our master plan. So incredibly proud of the efforts our team is doing, not only to make the customers that we have happy, but making them return customers as well. And these can be toggled through the facility itself. So as a team, we're able to make some pretty important decisions. Also happy to say that the team was able to turn this into a mobile version. So it is available through the performance management system in a mobile setting. In the interest of time, we're going to talk about a few decisions that have taken place from it. So when you take a look at the amount of feedback and surveys coming back, With that many programs, with that many instructors, it can be hard for our smaller team to be able to take stock on everything that is happening. So as a recent example, we have independent contractors that we contract with to provide some of those classes, receiving negative feedback in a particular one of them for a couple of sessions in a row. And it wasn't consistent feedback, but it was enough to trigger us to say, okay, what's really happening in this program? Are there things we need to talk about? Being able to then reach out to those independent contractors and say, hey, you know, we want to share this information with you. This is some of the things we're providing or we're getting provided from our customers. In return, that owner being able to say, you know what, we're going to send you our best instructor. And ever since then, having those positive experiences and seeing those participation levels and percentage scores increase dramatically. So those are those things utilizing this that we're able to make very quick decisions to be able to serve our customers. Another quick item is in the facility side. So being able to receive feedback right away from someone that says they were trying to use one of our restrooms at one of the aquatic facilities without having a changing table in the restroom. And that's one that you don't need to wait very long for. We're able to get that feedback right away, talk to our facilities team, do a quick audit on which of our facilities do and don't have some of those, and making sure we're able to do that, leading to those happy customers with those quick responses, and being able to provide that service faster than we would have been able to in the past. And then one of my favorite parts of it is also we talk about developing our team. So in the past, when you have that many people taking classes and we have as many instructors and independent contractors as we do, very difficult to be able to give them the proper praise. So through this survey system, we're able to pull that every time we get those surveys back, understand what our customers are saying about those instructors, and be able to provide that positive feedback back to them, those kudos to them, which keeps that morale level high as we move forward. With that, we're barely getting started. We've only been in the program for a few months, but we have several functioning dashboards already up and running, with a few more coming along the way. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thanks, Robert. Any questions for Robert at this time? Seeing none, great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert, for sharing those very impactful data stories. Our last speaker is Kyle Miras from Development Services.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Like Robert's group, we haven't been in the program very long, so we're sort of at the beginning stages of gathering the data and making the dashboards. But like the other departments, we have a ton of data, whether it's turnaround times or permitting times or code compliance cases or land use issues. We've got a lot of data that we've been gathering and putting into into the dashboards and continuing to build them. The data is going to help us fuel a lot more decisions that we bring to Planning Commission and Mayor and Council. A lot of times we've been asked for land use information and we're able to pull it from GIS, but it takes a little bit of time and then we have got to put it into a spreadsheet and then bring it forward. With these dashboards, we're able to show them right away. We can show developers where we're at with land use decisions and really kind of push the data forward much better and make those decisions. So some of the things we've heard, and you've asked about them in the past, you know, what's the balance of land use in our community? And that's been very important as we talk to different developers who want to make land use changes and let's say go from a regional commercial zoning district to a multifamily zoning district. We've heard your direction in the past. We're able to show them with these dashboards exactly the land use breakdown that we have and why that decision is so important. How long to build out, how much of the property is occupied versus vacant. And then for our second dashboard, we started talking about code compliance cases, and are we getting to them in a timely manner? How long is it taking to close the cases? What are the trends we're seeing? What are the areas we're seeing? And so as we start to ask these questions and build these dashboards, I don't think there's anything that we can't do. So what other questions can we answer with the data we currently have is something we ask ourselves a lot and pull that data. Bill Cellini is our data content strategist and is just amazing with finding the data and having the ideas to move forward. Challenges along the way. So one of the things that we ran into, and you saw it this summer, was legislation. So we had to turn things around very quickly to either get ordinances passed or get housing data back to the legislators. So with building these dashboards, we're able to do this much quickly. We're able to anticipate exactly what we're going to need to turn in, and we can do that very well. Staffing, we've got staffing studies in the town, and being able to see the amount of permits that's going on, the locations that we need to apply the resources, we can really start to hone in and make sure that we're identifying our staffing needs to better serve the community. This is the land use framework dashboard that we've got. So you can see Gilbert build out. Gilbert in total is 72.6 square miles, which is 46,296 total acres. Occupied is 42,131. Vacant is 4,165. So we only have about 9% of Gilbert that's left when you look at the totality. And then as you look at the acreage by land use and the acreage by zoning district, it's very easy to tell that we are a very residential community. Something that we've talked about in the past, but you can really start to see the numbers on this when you look at these dashboards. And then I point about halfway down on the chart on the right where it talks about acreage by zoning district. You can see how much commercial we have left. There's not a great deal. So as we have meetings with developers and we bring forth land use recommendations, we'll absolutely be using more of this type of information. Going to the code compliance, a lot of this information is coming out of Gilbert 311. You can see we had 786 open requests. The bottom left there shows the different request types. So we can really start to look at what's the trend, what are we seeing as far as, is it vegetation is the biggest one, but what are we seeing that we need to maybe focus a little bit more on or select some resources. The chart in the middle with the dots is more of our heat map, so we can plot out each one of those count requests by type, where they are happening in the community, see where there's trends, see where we need to put those resources, and you can see kind of in this case that a lot of the stuff is happening in the northwest quarter of the community. So having the community preservation ordinance and being able to really kind of look and see where we need to focus things is really going to be helpful. And then the far right is the average work days to acknowledge an inquiry. The goal is 4 days or less, and you can see that the team is sort of Johnny on the spot with acknowledging the 311 inquiries and opening up different cases and moving forward.
Kyle, can I ask
Yes.
a question about that pie on the bottom left corner?
Yes.
Where it says other, do we try to determine if there actually is a category that those could be moved to if they're just clicked other?
Yeah, that's one of the questions Bill and I talked about today. It would be nice to have a little bit better specificity on that. I think this is one of those things where we found the data and we brought it back and we realized we may have a gap. So, maybe one of the code compliance inspectors they're just marking other because it's something off or a little bit strange. I think there's probably plenty of room on this graph to put some of those other items in. But yeah, that's one of the things that the data shows is, maybe we're missing something. So that's really good to pick up.
And I was thinking that our residents might just be clicking other because they don't understand our terminology in Gilbert 311, something.
it
So
could
they're
be.
picking the easiest solution.
Yeah, and we may need to fix 311 and some of the things that were in there as well. Yeah, no, that's great. So what are we doing to move forward? We're going to do the plan review timeframe tracking. So let's see how fast we're turning around the permits. I keep telling you guys we're the fastest in the valley. This will definitely prove it out. Floodplain permit issuance, count and location. That will really help us with some of our insurance rates as we do our audits every year. As we get additional points, we're able to reduce the amount of flood insurance to the homeowners. So if we can track this and provide that, that should really help us out. Much like ECDEV and some of the other things you've seen, permit valuation I think will be important for us to see too. Whether it goes up with better buildings, I don't say better buildings, but if it goes up with larger buildings and things of that nature, or does it start to decrease because we're not issuing as many building permits and the valuation begins to fall. It'll be an interesting kind of trend to watch and see. And then obviously we want to do all of our different inspections, track our inspections, see where the hot spots are again, and kind of figure out, where we can put resources and what we need to do in that arena. Oh, I'm sorry. Were there any questions?
Thanks, Kyle. Any
Yes.
questions for Kyle? Councilmember Tilkey?
Thanks, Mayor. Kyle, I can't remember what report I saw recently, but I thought I noticed that the online inspection numbers are going down. Is this something you'll be tracking and kind of understanding why that's happening?
Are you referring to the virtual inspections?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Couldn't remember what to call it.
Yeah, those have really kind of fallen off for us. We're not getting near as many calls on those. So we will track it as part of the next dashboard that we build, but we've seen that dramatically drop off since COVID.
Yeah, thanks.
They seemed pretty popular for so long, and now they seem to be dropping off.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, and I think a lot of it too depends upon the nature of the inspection, and if they're on site, sometimes it's easier just to do them.
Thank you. Oh, any other, Councilmember Buckley?
I just have a quick question. Can you go back to the pie that you had back there? On the one that says down toward the bottom, it's a red dot, illegal parking. Maybe that's an orange dot.
Yes.
And, okay, so that's quite a large, do you think that's a large number of illegally parked cars? Or different vehicles or buses or what?
It's going to be illegal parking in neighborhoods or people parking in parking lots overnight or something they're not supposed to stay at. The large orange that you see on the pie chart is for other. So that's one that's when we need to dig down a little bit further.
That one would be the little sliver right there.
Oh, okay. No, I was wondering what the big orange slice was.
Yeah, that's the one we've got defined as other, where we're identifying a gap in either what 311 is doing or how we're jotting down the notes as we start
yeah,
the
I was
case.
concerned if that was the one for illegally
That would be-
parked vehicles.
That would be a lot, yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Kyle? Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of our speakers for coming up here today. We really appreciate them, and we're really excited to see where their programs evolve. As you can see, every single one of them takes a different approach because each one has a different set of goals, the different way that they do business. So in looking forward, the core performance team will complete onboarding. We're going to publish our data stories and our dashboards. So you guys got the first look at some of these new dashboards that are coming out. And then we're going to launch the townwide STAT meeting to share insights across the town, all of the departments, to build that collaboration and develop action plans for the future. In closing, we thank the council, the town manager's office, and the department leaders for their guidance and support. Together, we're building a stronger, more transparent, and accountable organization. And we look forward to the future as we build value for our community. Thank you so much. We're ready for any questions or feedback.
Thank you so much. Any questions or feedback? Councilmember Kaprowski.
I just want to provide some feedback. I know it's been a heavy lift to kind of get all of these dashboards going for all the different departments, and I think that it's adding a lot of value. I appreciate the update, and I would continue to support this initiative.
Thank you. Thank you, Council.
Councilmember Bongiovanni.
Thank you, Mayor. So I've been up here a little over a year and a half, and I'm still blown away by the dedication of our staff in this town. It's amazing. I mean, when you get this much information, it's really easy to get paralysis by analysis and just sit there and not do anything about it. But when I take a look at these dashboards, you guys have done a fantastic job. You can actually make decisions based on the dashboards as opposed to just having data. Because if you just have data and you can't analyze it, you just have data, but then you can sit there and just stare at the data forever and not do anything. But I'm just amazed at our town staff and Patrick and your team, and I'm amazed. You guys are doing an incredible job.
Thank you, Council.
Councilmember Torgerson.
I'm just hoping that we find a very effective way of getting the public-facing part of this to the public, so many of those questions can be answered, because people make so many suppositions, and if they had this resource available, maybe they'd understand some of what they think they're seeing, they're not seeing, or vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely,
So
Councilmember.
is there a plan to get that very public?
We are. We actually are. We have a sub-team that's going on in our core performance group that we are looking at redesigning and redeveloping our public side. One of the ideas that we've come up with is kind of an our town scorecard. You see that across a lot of different organizations who have rolled out performance management programs. I would love to hear feedback from the council and mayor and town manager's office on what types of things you guys would like to see in that scorecard. So it's an easy to read sort of space to go. And then when they want to know more information, they can click in and see those really impactful data stories.
Yeah, thank you so much. Any other comments or questions? Seeing them. Oh yes, Town Manager Banger.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I just wanted to extend my appreciation to Amy and our IT department. In the last 6 to 7 months, they have ingested 1,100 different tables of data from more than 50 different data sources. What you're seeing here, there's been an incredible amount of work that goes on behind the scenes to format the data, to make it accessible, to create these viewers that make the data, to your point, Councilmember Bongiovanni, not just data, but put it in a format that people can understand. All of these dashboards that you looked at are also dynamic, so you can click on virtually any aspect of that and drill down into data, see it either geographically represented on a map by issues or better understand zoning issues and where things are occurring. And they're just, it's just the tip of the iceberg. They're just scraping the surface of what this is going to allow us to do as we continue to roll this through all of our departments, and the departments that have been through it continue to ask questions, increase curiosity, and create more dashboards to create more transparency and clarity for our residents as well as for you, our governing board, as you make decisions of importance for this community. I'm not aware of any other city in the nation that's doing it in the manner that we're doing, and it's not an easy task because there's a lot going on in this town. We're the 76th largest city in the country and still growing. This has been an extra duty on all of them. So I just can't thank our assistant managers, again, Amy, all of our directors, and all of the team members who have worked really, really hard to bring this to where it is today, and there's a lot more coming.
Vice Mayor?
I just wanted to piggyback on what Councilmember Torgerson was saying. I think it's important as we are approaching build-out that our residents understand why we're making the decisions that we're making, and these dashboards will certainly bear that out, and I think it's important that we be able to share that with the public.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Councilmember Bongiovanni.
One more thing.
Okay.
Thanks. I'll keep it brief. Brevity.
I think we're past that point.
Yeah. I took a class in my master's program in how to lie with statistics. Mm-hmm. And when I take a look at the dashboards, not only do they bring transparency, but they also bring vulnerability. Mm-hmm. And I took a look at some of the dashboards you were doing, and you're not trying to hide data. It's really brought out more to bring out points how we can be better. You know, for example, well, no, I'm going to give you an example because it goes back to Councilman Torgerson's kind of thing. When I did some quick math and we took a look at multifamily, it was like 1% of the total amount of acreage. Maybe I did my math wrong, but things like that are some things that I would love to see moving forward to bring to the public, so we can help explain some of the things that we're doing.
Absolutely. We really do encourage every single one of the departments to not be afraid of the data, to understand that sometimes we go into it and we don't know what the data is or what it's going to show us, and to just really, like you said, be vulnerable and understand that there is always room for growth. There's always room to improve. And as you've seen here, you know, they've found their gaps. It's much easier to find the gaps when you visualize it in this way. So, thank you.
I was going to say, I always do a disclaimer when we talk about the city of the future. Vice Mayor's going to laugh. So every time we talk about the city of the future, people get all riled up and talk about the fact that we're going to try and change the town of Gilbert to the city of Gilbert. And that's not the intention. The intention of the city of the future is to make sure that we don't fall into the gaps that cities that have come before us have fallen into. And we make sure that we're continuing on a forward-moving path for this community and not going backwards as we're trying to get to build out. But I've been volunteering in Gilbert since 1997, and we've been talking about build out every month since then, right? When are we going to get there? Oh, it was going to be 2000, then it was going to be 2010, then it was going to be 2020, and here we are at 2024. So we're still on our way. We're still finding our way as a community. And here's a little sarcasm. I know all of our departments are busy, but we picked the busiest to start this dashboard process with, right? I mean, you couldn't find busier departments than Parks and Rec and PD and development services in this community. I mean, but other than like Public Works, right? It is what it is. And being able to share this information, I agree that it is offering up transparency, but vulnerability is a great term for that, because we are showing everything that is going on in the town of Gilbert on a daily basis. And yeah, 76th largest city in the United States, largest town in the United States, 5th, maybe 4th largest city in the state of Arizona. We have a lot going on here, and you all should be very proud of what you do every single day. So Thank you for that.
Thank you, Mayor.
And thanks for taking this over and handling it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Great presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Thanks, you too. Next, we will move on to communications from citizens. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, this is an important part of the meeting when the public has the opportunity to communicate with the council, and per state law, we cannot respond, but we do value the communication. We value the participation of all community members and the robust exchange of ideas. However, it's essential that this discourse remains respectful and constructive, reflecting the professionalism expected in such forum. We'd ask that as your name is called, you come up to the podium, state your name and your place of residence, and we have one comment card tonight with Steve Laval. Steve will have 6 minutes. Stacy has dedicated her 3 minutes to Steve.
All right, good evening. Here's an email from your fire chief, Rob Duggan, to a potential candidate. Attached are lots and lots of questions to review. Enjoy. I also want you to consider what makes you different from other applicants. This is very important in the firefighter interviews. The boards will likely sit through interview after interview, and everything will sound eerily similar. In the end, no one remembers names. They remember something unique about you. For example, during the panel I was on, this statement was made, quote, "We got to hire a guy whose wife sells size 13 shoes to transvestites," end quote. That's the best story he could tell a potential recruit in coming in there to Gilbert. So I have a couple questions for that. First of all, does every candidate get the same 100 questions that Chief Duggan gave to this candidate? Would you call that favoritism? There's a policy or it might be a directive in the fire department that does not allow any candidates to go into the fire department stations and talk to people while they're on duty if they're candidates. Why is the fire chief using his job online, using his work email to communicate with candidates? I don't know, sounds like favoritism to me. Speaking of the transvestite, so let's get into that. You have one transgender firefighter in your fire department. He's a male, he has male genitalia. He uses a female restroom. He's used it for the last 9 to 10 years. They've done nothing about it. He makes up the bathroom, he controls the whole area. Is that respectful to your female firefighters? What about their rights? What about their protections? That same guy goes out in the public and uses female restrooms in the public. And his captain supposedly was told by Chief Duggan that if you get any inquiries, give him my phone number. Well, I'm inquiring right now. It's wrong. He's a male. He should not be in a female restroom. If my daughter or my wife's in that building, I will take him out of that restroom or I will not let him in. If any of you females are in that restroom, or if any females are in that restroom, I will not let him in. It is wrong. It is flat out wrong. I'm not playing that game. All right? Which leads me down to another road now. On that subject, I'm going to go back. Bob Badgett, I'm glad he's here because he's writing people up right now. Matter of fact, you lost 2 firefighters who'd rather go to a place where they'd rather be valued than here in Gilbert. But he's writing people up for unethical behavior. I want to remind you, February 2024, Bob Badgett to Jim Jobush. I was told the decision came from the manager's office, $331,000 manager right there. The initial proposal was to remove 28 people and replace them with a different 28. Nathan, I told Nathan I would prefer to expand it to 28. That's unethical, very unethical. Okay, you guys know that's in there, I sent it to all you. You doubled down on the Pierce-Coleman report, so was he. That report was dated December 9th, 2021. Well, this email is dated June 28th, 2023. Rob Duggan to Bob Badgett. Bob, I'm working with the digital team to recreate an old photo of the original station. We took a test run. The picture looked great, but we needed to reshoot the picture to make it awesome. In the perfect world, we would place a firefighter, I'll leave it at that, on engine 252 on the 11th. He is currently roving. He supports our efforts to show more people of color in our outward-facing images and volunteered to help whenever possible. He says, I will contact Chief Cadden, also compliant in this, to see if he can pre-fill the spot with said firefighter. If that doesn't work, I would suggest we place, well, that's right, female firefighter A or female firefighter B on that truck. Why are we picking people in this department based on their color or their gender for photo shoots? What's wrong with the people that are assigned to that truck? Why can't they go and take this? Who cares what they look like? Why are we hiring people based like this? Why are we continuing to do this? Is this favoritism? Is it based in race and gender? Still is. Still there. Is this DE&I? Is this what it is? Because that's discrimination if you ask me. So the town of Queen Creek last night hoisted DE&I. Leaders in the state of Arizona, the first town to do it, and you guys had the opportunity to beat them there. I've been harping on you about it. It took courage from those people. Do you guys have courage? I'm asking you. All right, so here's the deal. How are you going to protect your female firefighters? How are you going to protect the females in this community? How are you going to protect their rights? All right? How are you going to do that both in the station and in the public? That's your jobs now. I'm making you well aware of it. How are you going to do this? And you're going to address the double standard and the favoritism going on in the fire department, along with segregation in your own department, your own organization under that man's leadership. Okay? What happened to what Martin Luther King said? What happened to let's judge a man, or a woman for that matter, on the content of their character and not the color of their skin or their gender? Why do we not do that in this organization? Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. That's the only card we have tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Chris Payne, you and I talked about, I'm asking this as a follow-up to this because I can direct staff to do things after communications from citizens. You and I talked about the discussion in Queen Creek about DE&I and how it was not what it was perceived to be in media. So I was asking you to follow up on that and get that information to the town council, please. Thank you. Next, we will move on to future meetings. The council still has one item on our agenda that is council retreat item related to status update on GO bonds. And then communications report from the town manager. And I know you have something special tonight, Patrick.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Just a second to bring our presentation up. Okay, I'm going to start with some great news we received from Moody's, one of the national rating agencies that reviews Gilbert's financial condition and outstanding debt. Moody's has performed a ratings review and upgrade of the town's public facility MPC bonds from AA1 to AAA. They've also upgraded the town's subordinate lien bonds to AAA as well. It's quite rare to have a subordinate pledge receive the same rating as the senior pledged bonds. Moody's noted in the report the AAA issuer rating reflects the town's thriving suburban community that will continue to expand, supported by its favorable location within the Southeast Valley of the Phoenix MSA, a growing population and ongoing additions to housing and commercial investment. These ratings mirror the investment market's perspective on Gilbert. Not only does this reflect the town's financial and economic robustness, but it also underscores the effective leadership from the town council, prioritizing wisely and adhering to prudent fiscal policies. Additional credit goes to town management for their visionary goals and to the entire Gilbert team for their unwavering execution day in and day out. So just a huge recognition of the great work being done, not only in finance and budget, but the entire organization that works very hard to make ratings like this possible. And then next up, did we not get a slide in for Stefan? I can just read this for you, Mayor, and I'll forward on. So Stephen Watson, I'm sure many of you have met him. He's the town's water and energy resources planning advisor, has been actively deployed since January in the Middle East. During his deployment, he's been able to serve a humanitarian mission in Israel and was promoted to Master Sergeant for the military police. For any of you that have had any family members or loved ones who have been deployed, it is common to send care packages to support them. What is not as common is a service member sending something back home. Master Sergeant Walston is one of those people who took it upon himself to fly the United States flag on behalf of the town of Gilbert. We are grateful for the example he sets as a public servant and to all of our veterans and look forward to the safe return of all deployed. We have a number of employees right now deployed locally within our country as well as various hotspots around the world, and we're very grateful for their service, and we look forward to their safe return to their families and our community and our organization. And with that, I've got a flag and a certificate from Stefan to the Mayor and Town Council that was flown over his base in the Middle East.
Thank you, Patrick, and thank you to Stefan, and be safe wherever you are and whatever you're doing, please. Next up will be a report from council members. Councilmember Bongiovanni, here we go.
Thank you, Mayor. Our dementia-friendly initiative application will be turned in this week so we can begin planning on training staff and community businesses to make Gilbert officially recognized as a dementia-friendly city. Also, from Gilbert Parks and Recreation, they're inviting residents to engage in the next phases of development for Gilbert Regional Park at 2 neighborhood outreach events in September 2024. Thursday, September 12th, 2024, the Barn at Power Ranch, located at 3685 South Autumn Drive, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Thursday, September 19th, cafeteria at Bridges Elementary School, located at 5205 South Street, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. This community-driven event will showcase the exciting new amenities planned for the park, including ball field complex, flex house and fields, trail hub, Adventureland, all-wheel plaza, dog park, backyard games. Attendees will have the opportunity to view detailed plans, ask questions, provide valuable feedback on the park's future amenities. Participation is crucial in creating something special that meets the needs of Gilbert's growing community. Attendees will also be entered into a drawing to win free tickets to Gilbert's newest events, Sound Bites Music and Food Festival featuring the Gin Blossoms. These events are free and open to the public.
Councilmember Kraposky.
Thank you. I just wanted to add on to what Councilmember Bongiovanni mentioned about the town submitting for the dementia-friendly initiative. This is an alliance that will be formed between employees, community leaders, healthcare providers, caregivers, and individuals living with dementia. And an example of this initiative in action is with the Gilbert Symphony Orchestra, which provides free dementia-friendly concerts for the community members of all ages. And the next concert, save the date, is Saturday, October 12th, 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. And a lot of people ask me what makes the Gilbert Symphony Orchestra dementia-friendly, what is modified. And I think you'll see, as I mentioned a couple of these items, that it also makes it friendly for people that may have school-aged children in band and strings program, or even people with other disabilities or autism. So how we make it a more inclusive and supportive environment is the conductor will do introductions of all the pieces of music to kind of give context and background for each piece of music. The doors open 30 minutes prior to the concert, and there are wheelchair spaces available, and we have brighter lighting in the auditorium. I'm usually there with my daughter in the front of house to help assist anyone that may need that. We have a lot of flexibility in the auditorium. Attendees are encouraged to move about if they need to. They can enter and exit at any time. And it's a very relaxed atmosphere. It's not very formal. And if someone does need to escape the concert hall and kind of find a more quiet space, we have a few chairs in a quiet area for anyone that may need to do that. So thank you, Councilmember Bongiovanni, for including me in the initiative for the dementia friendly, and I'm glad we could make progress on that.
Any other comments from council members? Seeing none, then I'll move into comments from the mayor. As you can see on your screen, we have a great photo from Williamsfield High School First Responders Night. I was there with Chief Michael Soberg and Chief Rob Duggan, and then we had members of the police department, a couple of SROs, and members from the Gilbert Fire Department Station 1, I believe it was. And we were able to head out onto the field and join the captains of the football team as they were kicking off this game. And right behind me in this photo is Lieutenant Pete Rangel, and he will be retiring in January with 31 years on the police force. And I have a video that I would like to share.
The captains are number 1, Andrew Hook, number 13, Scott Hanson, number 55, Jaden Tired after 30 and number 52, Carlos Gutierrez. That's pretty good. Thank you for your service. It's still.
So the reason that I wanted to share that one was to recognize Lieutenant Rangel. I think that he was really thrilled to be invited to toss the coin, no pressure. They give you instructions on how to do it. He had his wife Amy there with him last Thursday night too, but I wanted you to see the reaction of those football players. The boys that you saw clapping their hands and congratulating him were the opposing team, and I just was thrilled by the response from teen boys in this community. As we were walking up to join the captains, one of the young captains turned around and took my hand and said, "Mayor Peterson, it's so nice to meet you." And then as we were coming off the field, dodging football players because they were running at us, one came running at me and I got a big, huge bear hug from them. And I just want you to know that those teens are out there and they're doing these great things in this community. And I wanted to send a big thank you to Athletic Director Daryl Stengel, because every year he does this First Responders Night right around 9/11 to make sure that we are thanking our first responders in the community. And thank you to Chiefs for being there and your teams, and thank you for Lieutenant Rangel coming out and offering him that opportunity to toss that coin. And then I think I have my schedule from the past couple weeks because I've been sharing that now at our council meetings. And we attended, all of us attended a League of Arizona Cities and Towns conference, which is one of my favorite things to do each year. But in light of brevity, I will move on to another recognition that I wanted to do for staff. The Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada has awarded Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting to the town of Gilbert for its annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year that ended June 30th, 2023. This is the 33rd year in a row that Gilbert has received this award. The report has been judged by an impartial panel to meet the high standards of the program, which includes demonstrating a constructive spirit of full disclosure to clearly communicate its financial story and motivate potential users and user groups to read the report. The Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by government and its management. And this award represents the highest form of recognition. So I wanted to say thank you to our team for everything that they do and making sure that the town is always well represented. And just one more note, if you don't know, today is also World Suicide Prevention Day. And if you or someone you know is struggling, there are options available to help you cope. Call the 988 Lifeline to connect with someone and receive emotional support, or text 988 or chat with someone at chat.988lifeline.org. 24/7 in the United States. Thought it was important to mention. That's all I have for this evening. And I will take a motion to adjourn. Oh, Councilmember Kowalski, sorry.
Just wanted to mention the Town of Gilbert 9/11 Memorial Ceremony is tomorrow it begins at 6:30 p.m. with a tribute in light from 7:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. and that's here at the 9/11 Memorial Plaza here at the Town Hall building.
Thank you for remembering that. I had it in my original notes and somehow I lost it. Take a motion to adjourn? So moved. All in favor? Aye. Motion, meeting adjourned.